Okay, but right now we're on page, let me get this down here. Kuf Ayin Test. Kuf Ayin Test. So here we go. Also, Rabbi Shimon B'Chama Kasivin, as Rabbi Shimon says it written like this. Let me move this over here just a second. Let me see. Hine Chakasif is Pasuk Ve'elach HaMalachim Asher Malchu Be'eretz Edom. Okay. Did we get that Eretz Edom is another word for Bina? So let's see how the Gebehem Shevas Spheros and Equaya Malachim Sheyatsa Be'imach HaNikratz Eretz Edom. The Gemoshe is Boyer Be'idra Rabba V'shov V'chaloch V'loch Yatzach V'mloch Rak La'achar Yitziyasa Me'ima, only when they went out from Ima Ki V'chiyosim Mei Ima Choyachadayim B'sod Ha'ivor. They were still in a what's that, right, in the stage of conception. Benimsa should be gestation. That's what I'm looking for. Benimsa should be Yosef of Eretz Edom. Lo Malchuch B'Chadayim, but while they were still in Eretz Edom, they still were not in charge. V'im came b'mam Pirush al Pasuk Asher Malchu B'Eretz Edom, because it says that they ruled in the Eretz Edom. Obviously, they were not ruling in the Eretz Edom. And Meshiv, and he answered, so that's a stira. So how does it work out? He said, "Is that what? They were actually in getting their kingdom set up while they were still, or they set up their kingdoms while they were still inside of Ima, who's called Eretz Edom. That's an interesting word, hiskimo, that they agreed at that point. This is a certain level of personalization that they agreed. He says, or whatever it was. Let's say Ima. Let's say Belimloch. They had already decided that they were all going to go out, and they were already put their crowns on, so to speak, and they're going to go to work. This is the reason. This is the reason. The pasuk. He says, "Ki hinei hamalocha noadu avro yachtav." That's an interesting phrase. They're all known, what? No'adu, I'm not sure what that means. Ivru Yachtav, and they pass through together. Pirushu, ki sheva malachim, these 7 malachim, nizvadach b'yachad lemlach. So they all took counsel amongst themselves, or they agreed amongst themselves to rule. So what's the word no'adu? Is a funny form. Shul lashon chibur. His vados, so they all got together and they all made an agreement. Ban Aser, where was this? Because after they got out of the womb of Ima, because once they're outside of the womb of Ima, they all separated from each other. So you couldn't say that they're joined together anymore. But there has to be while they were still inside of Ima. So he says, the height of the dinim is I think he said misachadim daman. He says misachadim. 1 second, I have a little mark in my book. Okay, it's not coming out. That's actually, wait a minute, it's not my book, it's my screen. Okay. So after they had already gotten together, now Al Shem Edom Odim Adinim, and it's called Eretz Edom because that's the place where the dinim come from. That are aroused from her. So he wants to say that in the womb they were all together. Sham nizvado v'hiskimo yachad, that says limloch, to go out. They all agreed there that they're going to go out and they're going to rule. Let's get myself some room here. So he says, so now we're going on. It's looking at Masha Kasab Besofa Pasuk. On the end of the Pasuk it says Malachim Avru Yachtov. So it means they passed out. It sounds to me like they passed out of the Eretz Edom altogether. Pirusha she'oras ha'shav v'chabalachim avro kulam yachdav mikli el kli. They went together. That's what it means, from one kli to the next. This is the reason why they broke and died. He says the reason why they broke and died, the Hainu, when they came out, all of each one did not go into its designated kli. For example, the light of das will go to das. Or chesed, the kli chesed became kulam, and they all go like the way they're supposed to. El shekol oros sheva malachim niknasach b'yachad the kli hadas, so they all went in together. So you had 7 go into, or 7 or 8, depends on how you count. Yachad the kli hadas, u'malchus sham lefi shah, and they are all there working together for a moment. Ukli hadas, and think the lo hoya yochol lisbol riboy kola oras yacha, but the kli hadas couldn't handle all those lights together at one time. Was nishbar, so that it broke. But no afach of kli hadas, the olam abriya. So the kli hadas went in, the kalim went into olam abriya. That was the creation of olam abriya. They fell out of its silus. V'shvi rasa zukimis also, and it's being broken is the same thing as being dead. So then after that, and all of the rest of the lights went out together. So then all had been poured into kli chesed. It also broke the same way. Had all the rest of the vessels. And this is what it's written, and these are the malachim. And they died, and then in their stead, someone else came, and another came. Pirusha v'yamos kli hadas, the kli hadas broke. Machmas riberei oros, because it was too much light. Baz avro yachtav kol oros and kol kli chesed, and all of them went to the kli chesed. V'yimloch tachtav kli chesed. And then the kli chesed, instead of kli hadas, is now in charge. The same thing happened to all the rest. As you go downwards towards Malchus, this is what it's written in the next. But Hema, who was the Hema Rol king, as Knesses call Ha'oras Yachtav El Toch Kli Echad. So all, since he says Hakalim Rol king, the Kli saw this. You see it coming? As Knesses call Ha'oras Yachtav, we saw all of them piling in. Ba'astam Tomhu. I think it's a comment. So come to Malchu. Hakalim, you read this Ha'or Shakol Shalok Sidrim Aroi. So now they're all coming in. They see that it's coming, but it's not the right order. Shakol or Yikanis Rock Bakli Shalom. That's what it should be. But in Hollow, they became terrified. The Kalim, Mimani. So that's the word. Nivchalo Hakalim Mifnei Riboy. I'm sorry. Mifnei Riboy Ha'or Shabaho Bakulim Yacha. That all of them came together. All came. Nispazu, the Yared, the Olam Abriya, so immediately they went down and they scattered into Abriya. But Nimsakatalo is Kaibach Bachasraichu, and they weren't able to maintain themselves in the Olam of Batzilus, what sounds like Shkolam Balachim knows Kaibach La'am B'Makom Shabbalam Batzilus. El the Yard of the Olam Abriya, but they all fell into Abriya, into Briya. Or the reason why they couldn't handle that light, he began the tikkun of the malchus lo iskino. The shakli hasviros hanikroyim tikkun amalach, the tikkuni amalach. Let's go back to this. It says, what again? They call hasviros. The spheros are called the tikkunim amalach. No nisakta madaya, but kitikunim. They're not really completely and totally fixed up together the way they should be. Because the kalim that these lights are pouring into are very small. It's called, so now he's coining phrases, and he says that the Karta Kadisha, which is Yerushalayim, I guess, he says Shehi HaMalchus, Malchus, I'm sorry, HaNikras Ir Hashem, which is called the city of Hashem. Everything pours into Malchus. that everything is working the way that it's supposed to, according to the din of Malchus. Lo izdamado, lo nizdamdo kapadayim limloch. They still are not ready to rule. Ki gam heim nizbatel b'malchusim, because they're also destroyed, nullified from their ability to rule. This is the meaning of this phrase. They say like this: are you still there, right? Okay, that the other ones, that if you're down below, you see what's coming to you. That we see in our own eyes. And we have the same thing with Shavira happens to us. The whole I'm not sure if I read that right, but we'll go on. Okay, so Kushinisaka and Silus, and when the Silus, now actually it's Silus, is placed in the proper order. Episode Tikkun or shall shame ma. So how in fact does this come back together and become Masukan? 1 second. Masukan. So he says, Oz he is kaimel b'hashdach, this kaimel adach b'malchus, and now the malchus is be able to sustain itself, hakolelis, which has everything else in it. The haidach of b'sheva b'lach shechem shem ben. Let's go back and let's see this now again. The malachim, which are really the secret, or they actually doesn't say that this, they actually represent the shem ben, shehu b'bechinas nukva, which is the female aspect. The sitra de dechuru. Now he's talking about the tikkun, the sharimo, shorimo, besod tikkun dachav v'nok, and they dwell together because they're really together in the secret of male and female, as opposites. So this is all explained in the Torah. This is the meaning of what is written. Kamosha Kosu is written like this: V'yimloch tachto, and they ruled in his place. Hamelech Hashmini Hanikra Hadar. So the seventh melech, the eighth melech rather, which is called Hadar Shuhu Shem Ma. He's also known as the Shem Ma. So V'shem Iro Pa'u. So his name of the city is Paro. I just want to see this. Okay, Lashon Dibur. Paro is Lashon Dibur. Shem Ma. Who bechinas ruach? Ruach is like breath. V'oz nitzaktor episode tikkun dachav v'nok, and so now they come together and they become a tikkun as male, being male and female, not just female. V'zechav she'amach b'shem ishto shehi hanokva hu me'tabel bas metrad bas me zahav. So in the word Mezahav, you can see her the tikkun and her role in it there too. Ki hamayim hu rachmim, because when you have the word mayim, that means chesed, but bechinas dacher, and it's male. V'chazochav hu din bechinas nukva. Kamadol kimna, we explain it like this, episode be'idra rabba, as we have already been there. So now we come over here. This sod shall is kalos dacha v'nuk b'shas hatikun. So that's really what we're talking about in general. B'sifra the Agadah the Rabbi Nun Saba Itmar. So over there by Rabbi Nun Saba it says Lamandach b'sefer Agados shall Rabbi Nun Saba Kimasha Kasav b'melech Shmini. So what we have here about this eighth king, shall Yadol Nisakim Mises of Malachim, that through him, that's where the tikkun for the Malachim comes. The Imloch Tachtov Hadar. So Tachtov Hadar, he came back and he ruled in their place. He named Shem Hadar. Let's look at that word, Hadar. Hu Vadai. He say Hu Vadai. Means Vadai? What? Yisod. Excuse me. Hu Vadai Yisod. It refers, Hadar refers to Yisod. Amnam Chaydu Davka Kusha Yisod Kalu Im Nokva Shehi Etaras Yisod. Now this is an important part for me. He says, he says it right out here. He says, once again, he says, I'm no behind the davka specifically she yesod kolach and manukva. This is achor anuk in yichud. Shehi ataras yesod. Now he says straight out that the nukva is really an extension of the yesod. Ki mashach yesod nikra hadar. Haidach v'tinach yesod hu hiduro shel adam is really a person's glory, I guess. But if he doesn't have a female part, that's nothing. Because it's only when he's attached to the female, then it really performs like a yesod. Which is what? Giving birth. So therefore understand that this word hadar only means that I guess it means also a process, the process by which he comes together with her. Like you say like this, pre-eitz hadar. So it's a fruit of the eitz, which we're talking over there. We're talking about an esrog, but here he says a hadar. It's a hadar. So in other words, it's the fruit of the tree. Maybe it's for hadar. So the eitz hadar. So the eitz hadar is the yisod, and then he says the pre is the fruit from it. Logomoki eitz hadar. So we have like this: the eitz hadar, shuhu yisod. Kolu yachid in a pri shehu atara goes together with the fruit, which is the atara. Shal yisod nikra hadar. So there, the yisod is called hadar. It's only nikorba that ella bihiskaladus atara nikras pri, only when it gets together with the pri. Gemokain or shema shku hamelach hashmidi benikra b'shem hadar. So therefore, he's called hadar because that's what he's able to do. Oro nisgala, because its light is nisgala. B'yisod the elyon, it's revealed in the upper yisod. Now, what does he mean? The upper yisod. B'al shem b'zecha b'yisod, and because of this yisod nikra gam ku b'shem hadar, so it's also called by the name hadar. V'gam b'chatar b'shecha nukva nikra's pri kolulimo, so she's the pri of the hadar. It's interesting metaphor. He wants to say you have these yisod, and a part of the yisod actually sets itself up as a female aspect. That's the taras yisod. Now I see a stira in this a little bit. Is that how do you incorporate something that's already a part of yourself? It doesn't really talk about. Let me go back to the word ki. He says, "Keep bizman atikun kolula hanukva chadakar bebechinas ataras yisod," so they go together. V'chein masha kotzev v'shem ishto mehetabel. So what's that all about? Shuhan nukva shel hamelech hashmid. Now I know that we saw some of this in the Idra Zuta, but he's coming at a slightly different angle. He says, "Hainda atara kolula ima yisod," that is the atara included with the yisod. So it's making it sound like the yisod is separate, but you know that it's a part of the yisod. It's a little bit difficult, or is it? Are we talking about the creation of the yatara into a malchus? I'm not sure. So now you have a ma and a ben together. That's ultimate yichud. Now you see this in the name. How is that? Shuhu osius ma yitbao. So whether it's a word mad yud tes bet. Okay, let's go on. Let's see. V'hainu ma'ku hadakva hakulu banukva. This is the dakva that's included in the female, who is yatabel. So the ulukamian ben. So if you add up this is 19 and 2 is 21, 22 and 30 is 52. It comes to the gematria yatabel. For why this is exactly, I'm not sure, but it turns out to the same gematria, so it's just talking about the same thing. Ha'ola communion ben ki hanukva. In other words, what I was trying to say is that if you want to take these letters, they give us his name Yitabel, and he tells us that ma and Yitabel are going to go together. You see how that works. But where'd you get the word Yitabel? I mean, if you want to make 52, there's a lot of different combinations could make 52. Why these two? Why these 5 letters? So that's my question. So let's go on. Shehi Atara Kalulu Im Shema, because she's the crown of the Yisod, which makes an incorporation with Ma. Kamadat Amar. See, that's my question. You see, if she was already a part of him, then what's the big deal here? I don't really understand. It's really the appearance. I really don't know of a separation between them in some way, where she's actually become designated as the female part of the Yisod. Anyway, that's my question. So, Kamadat Amar, like you say, like this, and it's Hadar. Kapos. Whoa. Hello there. Let me see. What's the first word on the line that you dropped out here? Yatabel. So I heard the question that I asked about Yatabel. So let's go. Akamadat Alma, like you say, lends a commotion. Amber pre-aids Hadar Kapos Tamarim. That's where we got to. Kapos Tamarim. So Tamarim is a date bomb, and we're talking about the Lulav. And he says, Pirusho pre-aids Hadar Shihanukva. So let's go back to this again. Pre-aids Hadar Shihanukva. He Kafusa, Kashura. So Kafusa means being tied. V'kalula ima yisod hanikra tamar. That's very interesting because the Zohar wants to keep going over this word tamar, which is male and female. And he says like this: he says, "V'tzadik tamar yifrach, a tzadik will sprout like a date palm." Pirusha yisod hanikra tzadik. So let's go that way. Hukamom eitz hatamar. So he says, well, let's go back. The yisod is like a tamar, which cannot grow unless it's the nukva. Okay, so most plants are male and female. This is a plant that's only one or the other. So the ihu dachav v'no, ki eitz tamar, because the tree itself, which is a date, kolu b'hu zachav v'nekeh. Now he says this. He said opposite of what I said, but let's see. He means to say zachav v'nekeh. This is where the two of them come together. Because you see the Yisod always has this Atara with it, which is the female part. So now let me explain to you what this means. He says, it means that they're tied together, entwined together. She's the fruit of the Eitz Hadar, which is incorporated in the kaposa yachad with the two of them together. Yisod, that she's the kaposa nikra, she's tied together with the yisod, the nikra tamar. Okay, uzeku shenirmas b'shem. This is what is referenced in this name mehitabel ma uben yachad kamor. The two of them going together. So let's go on and read a little bit more. So Zuha Nukva Metabel. So let's talk about her. Is Korea's Nikras Batara Bas Matred. She's also called the daughter of Matred. So he says the Ramez al Shorsha Ha'elyon B'chochba Ha'babina de Adam Kadmon. That actually, let's go back here. He says that her root is in the Chochman Bina of Ak. Shehem Shemos of Vasar. So this is okay. We're going to say this is Zachar V'Nog. Bas Mahu Aser. So she's the daughter of that place of the union of Av and Sad. Hanukvahi Bas Ma'oser Makom Elyon Hanikra Matred. So that place, that place up above is called Matred. The Tardin Kul Lizdabga. Ki Kol Hatachtonim Trudim. They're making an effort. In order to be able to reach it and to cling to it, and they don't, but they can't. It's called the father. Okay, it's called the father. Like a father. So now we're talking about this. Av is the Chochma of Adam Kadmon. And it's written on the So where are you going to find Chochma? And where's the place of Bina? Lo yada enesh arko. Ein misha hesig arko shel Chochma zu. This Chochma that we're talking about, he's bringing a raya, I guess, over here to that. We're talking about Av and Sag. And it can't be found in a living world. Even in this world, Hanikra Eretz Chaim, which is called the world, the place, the land of the living. Lo Yamatza Chamisha Yasigu, you're not going to find anybody to be able to reach it. King Rumbles Kan Shorsha the Adam Kadmon Shuhu Shem Sag, that the root of the Bina of Adam Kadmon is the name Sag. But this is something else. This is a Pirush Nosef Yesh the Dros B'Shem Bas Matran Shah Nukva Hi Bas Me'ima, that the Nukva is a daughter of her mother. Shehi Bina the Adam Kadmon, which is the Sag again, the Nikras Matran. Why the Mitra the Mistarako Misachadim Dinim. Ki Mitzad Bina Semistroho. Yes, say so. I guess it means, I don't know. Star, the side, he kiki mitzad bina nechazim is ordered us hadinim v'atachtonim, because it's from the side of bina that all of these dinim come out, that trodim the kula, that really bother and make a burden for everybody. Matridim, ma'anishim, the kol haroi the einish. So it comes back down. Yeah, thank you very much. Call to.